Ever had that moment where what you believe deep down just slams right into established authority?
Or when everything seems peaceful, stable, and then suddenly chaos erupts.
Yeah, exactly. History's full of those moments, isn't it? Upheaval, but also sometimes this surprising resilience.
That's really what we're exploring today, an era packed with these kinds of turning points.
Right. And before we jump in, just a quick mention if you want to dig deeper into these kinds of ideas, our YouTube channel, Mindful Moments, is worth checking out.
It uses AI to analyze books, gives you another angle for reflection, for really sharpening that critical thinking.
Definitely. Okay, so this period, what makes it stand out?
I think it's the interplay, individual convictions bumping up against these massive shifts in power.
Sometimes things fell apart because of it.
Sometimes, yes.
Right.
But other times it actually sparked resilience, even progress, unexpectedly.
Okay, let's start with that friction. Individual versus authority. Anselm comes to mind.
Oh, absolutely. A brilliant mind. The book really paints a picture of him wrestling with faith and logic.
Trying to reconcile them, right? He wasn't afraid to question the accepted truths, trusting reason could work alongside belief.
Imagine that internal conflict, though, questioning fundamentals.
Yet he kept pushing for understanding. It's quite something.
And his struggle, it mirrors wider tensions. Look at Pope Paschal II and Emperor Henry V.
Ah, the investiture conflict. Who gets to appoint bishops?
Exactly. Pascal initially agreed to a compromise, but the reaction, huge outcry.
So he backtracked.
He did, but Henry V wasn't giving up his claim to investiture.
Which led to Paschal refusing to crown Henry emperor.
Precisely. And Henry's response, he imprisoned the Pope.
Wow. So what happened? This is where it gets dramatic, right?
Very. After 2 months as a prisoner, Pascal, he conceded.
He gave in. He granted Henry the right to invest bishops with the crozier and ray.
He did, an astonishing reversal. The Pope, under duress, handing over significant church authority to the emperor.
That's huge. It shows how even deeply held principles can bend under extreme pressure, doesn't it?
It really does. A stark example of political reality clashing with belief, and how power dynamics can shift dramatically.
Makes you think about similar tests institutions face today. Now, staying with belief, what about Abelard?
Ah, Abelard. The book frames him as all about language and logic.
His weapons of dialectic, not actual warfare.
Right. He rose to fame as this master of logic at Notre Dame. You sense his deep faith in reason, in argument.
A sign of changing times. This move towards reasoned inquiry.
Definitely. And that focus on logic, well, it was bound to cause friction with more traditional church thinking down the line.
Okay, let's pivot now. Shifting power dynamics, unexpected outcomes. Japan had some fascinating internal struggles.
Oh, yes. Cloistered Emperor Shirakawa, basically. A retired emperor still pulling the strings.
Right, and he forced Emperor Toba to abdicate for his grandson Sutoku.
Toba must have been resentful, and you see this cycle.
How so?
Well, once Shirakawa died, Toba took the real power as the new cloistered emperor. And then, when his own favorite son, Kano, was born, Toba forced Sutoku, the one Shirakawa put in, to abdicate for Kano.
Wow, doing exactly what was done to him. History repeating itself within the family.
It shows how personal ambition, securing your own line, just drives these cycles of conflict.
We see instability elsewhere too, right? In Goryeo.
A military coup, followed by rebellion after rebellion against the new regime.
Kim Bodang's attack failed.
It did, and he ended up accusing civil officials, leading to another purge, more bloodshed.
And there was a bigger rebellion too.
Yes, from Pyongyang. That also failed, but tragically, King Ruijong was assassinated in the chaos.
So grabbing power didn't bring peace at all.
Quite the opposite. The coup created a vacuum, suspicion, more violence. It shows how hard it is to consolidate power after an upheaval like that.
And over in Spain, a complex picture there as well.
Very complex. The Almohad Caliphate was dominant, but faced resistance. Ibn Mardanish in Valencia and Murcia, for instance.
And he allied with Christians against fellow Muslims.
He allied with Castile, yes. It shows how fluid things were shared enemies, creating unlikely partnerships.
And amidst all this, the book mentions Rabbi Maimon ben Joseph fleeing.
Yes, conditions for Jews were worsening. It highlights the human cost of this constant conflict and shifting religious control.
Then, way over in Sri Lanka, after Vijaya Bahu, the kingdom was divided.
Right, fragmented. But then comes his nephew, Parakrama Bahu.
With big ambitions.
Huge ambitions. The book says he wasn't happy with just a piece. He wanted the whole island united under his rule.
a drive to consolidate, to build something bigger.
Exactly, setting the stage for more conflict naturally, trying to overcome those existing divisions.
Now, thinking about empires, glory can be fragile, can't it? The Khmer Empire.
Angkor Wat. Magnificent. Suryavarman II oversaw its construction.
But the cost. The book points out the drain on the kingdom. Taxes, war, these huge building projects.
Immense strain. And ultimately, his successors couldn't sustain it. They had to give up conquered lands, pull back.
So rapid expansion, grand projects. They can actually weaken you in the long run.
A classic cautionary tale. Overextension leading to decline.
The book also mentions the Moche and Nazca civilizations. Different fates, but environmental factors.
Crucial factors. The Nazca faced decline due to drought.
And the Moche.
They got hit by El Nino events, devastating cycles of drought and floods.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even powerful societies are vulnerable to changes in the environment.
Absolutely. Nature plays a huge role in the rise and fall.
Okay, but it wasn't all conflict and collapse. Let's shift to some more positive stories. Resilience. India, the Pala dynasty.
Yes, Gopala and the palace. Devout Buddhists, known for building temples, establishing religious schools.
What stands out is their inclusive Buddhism, right?
That's key. They incorporated different strands of thought, even some Hindu rituals. It wasn't rigid.
And that inclusivity brought stability.
It seems so. The book suggests this willingness to synthesize, to embrace diversity, was a source of strength. It fostered resilience.
Interesting contrast, then, with Vijay Sen.
Right. Staunchly Hindu, actively opposed to Buddhism. And he gained power gradually.
Yes, initially pretending loyalty to the Pala kings. But after King Ramapala died, he dropped the pretense.
So his strong personal conviction, his religious drive, became a political force.
Exactly. Coupled with ambition, it completely disrupted the existing order, leading to the Pala decline in his region.
And finally, Temujin, before he was Genghis Khan.
Even early on, showing strategic thinking, he sent Ila Ahai on a raid into Western Shia. Reconnaissance.
And what was Western Shia like then? The book paints them quite positively.
It does. Under Li the Rengxiao, they were focused on progress, adopted Song-style governance, promoted Confucianism and Buddhism.
Developed their economy, even created a bilingual dictionary.
Yes, a society really striving for cultural achievement, for internal development, even with conflicts simmering around them.
It shows another path, doesn't it? Focusing inward, building culture and stability.
Definitely. A different kind of strength.
So looking back across all these examples, we see individual agency making a huge difference, power constantly shifting.
Glory proving temporary, fleeting sometimes. But also these moments of incredible resilience, cultural blending, and focused progress.
It really pushes you to think critically about history, doesn't it? The complex forces at play.
Absolutely. And that's why engaging with these narratives is so valuable. It helps us understand the choices made, the factors behind success and failure.
Indeed.
For more chances to explore these kinds of historical insights, remember Mindful Moments on YouTube and our other explorations at our podcasts.
Definitely worth checking out.
And if you found this discussion valuable, please subscribe. Maybe share it with someone else who'd be interested.
Your support, perhaps through the purchase link in the show notes, really helps us continue these conversations.
But most importantly, keep thinking critically. Look at the world today. What seeds of change do you see being planted right now?
And what unexpected results might they bring about down the road? Food for thought.